Hello and welcome back to Mark's House and Garden. We're coming to the end of my least favourite part of the year, the winter time. I absolutely hate it. I actually become quite withdrawn, and you've probably noticed that I've published fewer videos. But spring is in the air. The sun is out today, although it's just gone behind a cloud. So in this video I'm going to share with you 7 signs that spring is just around the corner. It gives us hope, and I'm now feeling very positive about the year ahead. Now, some of these signs are somewhat predictable, but others are a little bit surprising and exciting. So stay tuned. Here are my 7 signs that spring is just around the corner. And the first of those signs, which I'm going to share with you, is right here in my wildlife pond. Now, I always pride myself on how crystal clear the water is in my pond, and it is throughout the year. Very, very clear, and you can see right to the bottom. However, right now, it's not clear. It's developing this really sort of slimy green bloom, and that is a sure sign that there is more light and more warmth in the atmosphere. That is one of the first signs of spring. And in fact, I believe that frogs, toads and newts find water sources to lay their spawn and eggs in by the smell of stagnant water. So I'm expecting this pond to lose balance over the next month or so as the light increases before the plants have started to grow. When the plants have grown a little bit, it'll regain its balance, but we will have to put up with this sort of green algal bloom in the water and a slightly stagnant smell. But that's a good thing, because hopefully that will be attracting the newts, and one of the big objectives of this pond was to attract newts into my garden. I know there are newts here, but I want to see them breeding in this pond. And watch this space, because as soon as I see them, of course, I'll share it with you. So there's sign number 1, green, slimy growth in the water of my pond. Let's move on to sign number 2. And my second sure sign that spring is just around the corner is right here at my feet. I'm on the wildflower mound. Now, last summer, this was a mass of dozens of different coloured blooms, and it was infested with pollinating insects. But right now, it's looking a little bit sad. But all is not lost, because I left all those blooms in place over the winter, and they will have self-seeded. But right here at my feet is a huge bunch of poppies, and there's poppies all over this mound. Poppies seem to come out first at the same time as daffodils and snowdrops. And they are one of the first signs of spring for me. And I'm looking forward to, in about 3 or 4 weeks, when this poppy grows up and starts producing beautiful big poppy heads. And I'll share those with you when they come out. So poppies is my second sign. Number 3 is interesting and exciting, and it's a result of an experiment which I carried out last year. Let's go and have a look at the asparagus. Last year, in around April or May time, a little bit later than it's supposed to be planted, I bought 10 asparagus crowns. I found them in a reduced section in a garden centre, and they were reduced from, I think, £5 each to 50p each. So I figured if I could get them to grow, or at least half of them to grow, I'd be onto a good thing. And asparagus can produce crop for 20 years. So imagine that. £4.50 or something like that of an investment, giving me asparagus probably for most of the rest of my life. So I planted them in this raised bed, which is a good thing because they have quite deep roots, and this is almost a metre deep. And of the 10 that I planted in this raised bed, at least 6 of them have survived. These canes are where I know there's a living asparagus plant. And I left them to grow all year last year, because you don't harvest the crop in year 1, you're supposed to wait till year 2 or even year 3. Then you cut them down in the autumn to stop the tall growth from damaging the rootstock in the wind. But now, the exciting thing, underneath this cardboard mulch, I've got asparagus spears starting to rise up. Now, they may be premature. We're still in February. We've still got some cold weather to come, I think. However, it's a great sign. And hopefully soon, I shall be eating asparagus and poached egg. Eggs from my neighbour's free-range chickens, hopefully. Now here at the front of the cottage is my formal parterre. It is boxwood, so I'm always conscious of the fact that at any moment it could be inflicted with box blight or box tree caterpillar, but until it does, I shall enjoy it, and it's doing really well. One of the approaches I'm taking to try and avoid box blight is I'm keeping it loose. I'm not pruning it too tightly, and by keeping it loose it lets ventilation through, which stops that fungus called box blight. I don't know if there's anything I can do about box tree caterpillar apart from be vigilant. Anyway, fingers crossed, but that's not a sign of spring. Over here, near this fence, in the short grass, there is something starting to grow. And it's not the daffodils that you can see down there to my left, or these beautiful snowdrops up here. Down here in the grass is a beautiful little crocus. Let me give you a close-up. Look at that there, just starting to emerge out of this long grass. A crocus. Isn't that beautiful? Delicate little crocus there in the grass. Now, isn't this the plant, the stamens of which can be used for saffron in cooking? Apparently more valuable than the weight in gold. Anyway, there we are, little crocus just popping its head up out of the grass. Now, one of the more slightly obvious signs that spring is almost with us is the tulips. These are those tulips which are planted earlier in the year in the green. They'd already started to shoot green sprouts as bulbs were in storage. I've no idea which colours they are because I dug them up in the autumn, but they are growing, and hopefully with a bit of luck I'll get a second year of blossoms or blooms or flowers on these tulips. Now, my next sign that spring is just round the corner is hidden down here in the pig pen. In these 4 pots here is our collection of gunneras, and all 4 of these will be going in my new Jurassic jungle garden, which I told you about recently. The way we overwinter these gunneras is we take the leaves off and we drape the leaves over the crowns just to give them a little bit of protection. But you can see already emerging underneath these leaves, we already have some wonderful growth. This is actually significantly earlier than usual, and I am a bit concerned about it because if it comes out too soon and we have a really cold few nights, it might get damaged. But look at this, like a huge big rhubarb, a definite sign that spring is just round the corner. So I'm about to show you the final of my 7 signs of spring, but before we go there, I just want to tell you that I've just been very gently feeling inside the top of each of my tree ferns, and I can happily report that I can feel, if I feel very gently, croziers starting to develop. They're like little tiny round knuckles, and we have 10 tree ferns, and each and every one of them is showing signs of spring growth, so that's good news. It feels like we might have had success protecting our tree ferns for the winter. The 7th sign of spring approaching is not the tree fern growth. It's a plant which I see every year, and it's down there in the far right hand side, bottom right hand side of your screen. It's a hellebore, and just look at this. It's absolutely beautiful. It's got this very pale lime green flower, and it has a kind of a tobacco scent to it. Now, I didn't plant this. The parent plant was over there in the exotic tropical border, and I actually dug it up, but these have self-seeded and made a reappearance, and I'm quite happy for it to stay here because it is a wonderful plant. It's a large hellebore. It's got these kind of serrated edges to its leaves, but Look at these beautiful flowers it has on it. Aren't they wonderful? I'll give you a close-up of that one there because it's just perfect. So there we are. Hope you've enjoyed that mindful wander around the garden looking for signs of spring. I've just started collecting plants for the new arid bed, one of 3 big projects which I've got going on this spring. The first being the garage conversion, then there's the Jurassic jungle garden and the arid bed. So stay tuned, subscribe, hit the notifications bell if you want to see those develop and the progress. And I'm going to leave you now with a bonus sign of spring, which is the bird song. Can you hear it? In the background there, it's audible. And I've already noticed birds going around the garden, gathering up twigs and bits of straw and grass. Nest building. We're coming to the end of February. And at the end of February, it will be illegal to cut hedges because the birds will be nesting within them. See you soon for some more house and garden adventures. Bye for now.